I am live. I am posting this in various places. This link to this session. So give me just a second. It'll look super weird and wrong while I'm busy sending this out to people. Lean on me. I'm going to send it to the people who signed up for tonight's class. In the meantime, if you found this video on the internet, you should know it's part of DenverGuitarOrchestra.com's weekly lessons. This is our weekly concert, and I'm going to send it out to the people who wanted to join me tonight to study this piece of music. And so I have to blind copy them, so it takes just a second for me to get everybody notified. We're going to send it to her, and we're going to send it to her, and him, and her, and her. It's not spelled like that. There she is. And her. And him. All right. Do that. And then I hit send. That'll give everybody the link that wanted to join us. And then I'm going to go post it on the DenverGuitarOrchestra.com. If you were just tuning in, I would fast forward 5 minutes or so. That's where we will begin work. If you're just now learning about Denver Guitar Orchestra, I do 5-6 lessons every week, levels 1 through 4. Tonight is actually a level 5. Level 5 class, and we are super excited about that because this is Christy's arrangement, not mine, and it's darn good. And so we're going to go through it tonight and see if we can get everybody playing it a little better, maybe get people writing some music, trying their hand at crafting something beautiful. And so now I am updated on that website. Let me make one other change, which is to open another page. And let's move the link from earlier today onto the archive. That way people won't be confused which one to click on, since they're both Thursdays. Earlier today we started the Brother John, which is the first song in level 1, and that'll be followed once a week by level 1 songs, and each week I do a level 4, a level 3, a level 2, a level 1, and then on Friday we do all of them at once. So that's our program that we got going here, and I always wish people would take advantage of it because they would end up being very fine classical guitars and fingerstyle guitars at the end of it. But guitar people are funny, and so they're very slow to get on board with things, and so hopefully they're busy at home getting super smart on their own. All right. Still missing my chat box earlier today. I got the chat box didn't show up, and it's not showing up again. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I think I'm forgetting to set this from adults to children. I think that's why the chat box isn't showing up. It's cool. Once we're going to start it in 3 minutes anyway, no matter who's here. And by the way, if you have logged in and you are if you logged into YouTube and you are logged into if you found us on YouTube and you're logged into Google, if you could give me a thumbs up to let me know that you can hear me and that the sound is good, that's helpful. I'm going to sit down and double check that the sound is good. Again, I don't have a chat box tonight, so if you could thumbs up me that the sound is good, that would be helpful. I'm busy looking around at my background to see what kind of embarrassing things are there. Uh, this is the to be filed pile, and then this is my guitar stool, which goes under my foot, and that's my wife's music stand right behind me. And it doesn't look so good, does it? So let's talk about moving that to somewhere freer, and then I'll show you my Denver Bronco thing. I got years ago. I got that from a Denver Bronco. Well, I was going to get my dad's tombstone for his grave, and I went to the place that sells those things, and it was the year the Broncos were going to Super Bowl 50, and they had made a bunch of those, and they were all over their yard. And I walked in and I go, man, I'm really jealous. I would love to have one of those. And they says, well, just take one. So that was exciting. So I got my dad's tombstone, and Broncos going to the Super Bowl in one shot. So there we go. Let's see. It is 8 o'clock. We're going to wait one more minute to let everybody log in if they want to. And this computer was doing a massive update. And so I got logged in a tiny bit late today, but everybody should now know where to go and how to get here and all that good stuff. So the link is working just fine, and we are live streaming, and I'm going to play the song. I'm going to see what we can do and see how it sounds. And again, if you are logging in and looking for the chat box, it's not there. And I think when I set up the stream, you're supposed to say whether you're for kids or not. And I think both times today, I have not checked the box that we are not for kids. And I think that's why the chat box, and it shows up over there for you guys, is not there. So if you can hear me, and if the sound is good, if you will do this, give me the thumbs up on the little doodad down there, just so I know that you can hear me and the sound is good. I'm going to move the microphones up a tiny bit closer to me, and this one quite a bit closer to me. It should shake the walls in your house probably. Get that up out of the way so it doesn't look quite so terrible. And I see one thumbs up, so either that's Elizabeth, who always thumbs up me. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Okay, a couple of you have given me thumbs up, so sound must be okay. Let's run through Lean On Me, and I do apologize. No chat room, but heck, we don't need to chat anyway, right? We need to play guitar. So, got a beautiful piece tonight. Christy arranged it. She is level 5 musician, meaning that she has done what's necessary to pass level 4 as a official academic pursuit. And now she's working level 5, which is to get to do everything you do at level 4, but also to do some arranging and sort of guitar leadership and that type of thing. She and I are going to be doing level 6 one of these days whenever they let us perform in coffee shops again. We're going to put a concert on, the two of us together, just duets and solos, and it should be fun. And she's she's a way better guitar player than I am. So, Christy, thank you for the arrangement. I really appreciate it. Again, if you're logging in late, there is no chat box, but I am told by people thumbs upping me that you can hear me just fine. And so we're going to proceed as if everything is fine. We're just not going to chat tonight. I'm going to try to speak clearly and try to make it as clear as possible, because you can't ask me questions tonight. I do have my cell phone sitting here. If you have my cell phone number and I say something insane and you need to let me know, just toss me a text and say, Gary, what you just said, you need to clarify. Because as you know, it is entirely possible that I might say something that makes no sense. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? So let's run through the chords. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of singing tonight, which is never a good thing, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about the chord structure here, because I think it needs a little bit of clarification. And then I have 2 or 3 other typos in here that I want to deal with. And then I got a couple of choices that I think I'd like you to make a different choice than the one Christy made. Obviously, these things are always open for discussion. When we hand out paper we're hoping that we got it dead on exactly right, and that never happens. We always have to make some kind of adjustments. So let's talk about the chords. This is actually a fairly simple chord structure to this song. One of the things Christy has had to do to get the sound file to sound correct is include the D chord in various places where she wants the tablature to show up. It's helpful in some senses that you see a chord coming in the tablature, you can peek up, see what it is in the chord grid, and so that's helpful. On the other hand, if you're just singing and strumming this, there's a few that kind of just seem like extra work and don't give you much bang for the buck. Now I have crossed out in measure 3 the final D chord. I just put a line through it, meaning don't pay attention to this. I've also done the same thing in measure 7. I've just gone ahead and crossed those off so that I don't have to worry about what they are. And you should feel the same. You should feel able to do the same thing. Let's see. I'm going to be double checking email once in a while just to make sure nobody's gotten stuck out on the streets and doesn't need to be. Next thing, throughout page 2, 3, and 4, the chords have F sharp minor and E minor in there as well. Now, if we were in orchestra, we absolutely would want to use all those chords to create a nice depth of sound to this piece of music. But in terms of singing and strumming it, just laying the song out, I've gone through and crossed out every single one of them. So all the F sharp minors, all the E minors, and so in measure 10, I've crossed them out. In measure 11, I've crossed out the second D chord and the A6. I don't feel like it's really getting me any bang for my buck when I'm singing it. I've also done that same thing, crossed out the E minor and F sharp minor in measures 13 and 14. In measure 15, there's a D and then a G sharp. The G sharp sounds so cool, but it's so much work to get it on that I have crossed that out as well. So I'm not going to play those. Measure 17, I went ahead and crossed off the E minor and F sharp minor again, both in 17 and 18. I'm not going to play them. I don't necessarily think they're there. Again, if we were in orchestra, I for sure would try to keep them in. I think it adds to the depth. But in terms of the amount of work necessary just to enjoy singing the song, doesn't seem like I'm getting much bang for my buck there. Measure 19, I crossed off the D and the A6. And in measure 21, I crossed off the E minor and F sharp minor. Going on to page 3, same thing, same sort of drill all through this whole page. Measure 22, I'm crossing off the F sharp minor and the E minor. Measure 23, those last 2 D chords, I'm playing them, but I don't want to look at them, so I went ahead and crossed them off. And then go down all the way down to the bottom of the page. In measure 31, there's 3 D chords in there. That seems like a lot, so I just crossed off the last 2. And then in measure 33, the E minor and F sharp minor, I crossed those off. Again, not that we're not going to take advantage of those in an orchestral situation, but in just a singing situation, it's so much work over here I just don't hear it in my performance as being necessary. It seems like a lot of work. Page 4, measure 34, I crossed off the F sharp minor and E minor in measure 34. And then in measure 35, that second D and the second A6 I crossed off. Measure 37, the E minor and F sharp minor, I crossed those off. And again, 38, same thing, F sharp minor and E minor, I crossed them off. And then measure 39, there's 2 D chords there that are there for a reason, but I'm not going to necessarily, I don't want to look at them, so I cross those off. Last possible chord change, we're not going to do this tonight. I am going to talk to Christy. We decided when she was originally doing this that it was too short. So I said, we'll just put a repeat at the end and we'll go back and play it a second time. What happened here, though, is that it feels like the song stops, then we go back and we do it again. So I'm going to recommend that Christy puts an A7 in a measure that doesn't exist yet. So it would be after measure 40. Now I'm going to put an A7 in, just a big A7. That gives me time to get back to the first page and start playing from there. And so that would be my suggestion, not tonight, but when you're playing at home, go ahead and toss in an A7 after measure 40. So you get to measure 40, it's the first repeat, toss that in that A7. That gives you time, you go back, you play the whole song again. The second time you come through, obviously you're going to skip 40 and you're going to skip that new measure with an A7 in it. And then you would end on measure, well, it's 41 now, it would end up being measure 42 once that measure's add. The other measure I'm going to add probably for myself, and you can decide if you want to, as that measure after the end of the song, you end up on this D chord. Lean on. I'm going to run up here to 7. I'm going to put a bar here, and I'm going to put a pinky on 10. That's also a D chord, and it's just going to give us a real pretty little harp-like ending at the end. Okay, so those are the suggestions I'm going to give to Christy. She doesn't have to follow any of my suggestions, but those are things that I was thinking about as I was studying this piece of music. I think there's a lot of really positive and wonderful things about this, and I do love the fact that those depth of chords are in there if you're in an orchestral situation. But when we go to tough uke, we have to start tough acts. We have to start making some decisions about what we're realistically going to be able to play. Okay. We'll go through the tough acts second, but right now let's just go through and strum this thing to make sure we understand basically how the song is working. And what I really want to do is warn you that I can't sing. And so I'm going to get as close as I can. Some, there's my first note. And we're going to sing through the whole thing. I will stop after page 2 to give you time to turn the page, and then we'll start again. Okay, so from the top. 1, 2, some, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes in our life, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long until I have somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride. If I have things you need to borrow, for no one can. And then take a minute to turn the page. Go to your G chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fill those of your needs. Doubt you won't let show. You just might call the brother when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for we won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Okay, basic idea. I obviously did not spend any time studying the words, and so I'm like, what is he talking about? But at least you got the idea of basically how the melody goes. I'm sure all of you guys have heard that song a million times. And nice work on the chords. Again, I took out all those fancy chords because I just don't see them as being necessary if I'm going to sing and strum this. And frankly, in Christy's arrangement, she doesn't take the tough acts part of it. She doesn't take particular use of those in the tough act section, which is fine. I probably wouldn't have either. But in the orchestral version, what will happen is those moments that we are dedicated exclusively to the chord players, it's going to create a nice, really deep sense of sound and beauty that adds onto a solo guitarist rather than takes away from it. So And obviously, if you're a chord demon and you want to include all those in there, give it a try. I'd say probably you would be better off using a bar chord G and playing the whole thing with bar chords in that case. And when you probably open G. Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow. I think probably this G chord with the bar is going to work out better, especially when you get into those deeper chords, major 10, for example. How do we lead into it? Uh, if you go to measure 10 and you use bar chords, you've got when you're not strong, and I'll be, and F sharp minor, right? Gotta make sure I got this right. G chord, strong, and I'll be your friend. You can hear that descending bass line, which is really cool. And so be thinking about rather than using the open G. And I think Arlo is the one who told me about that. Just use the bar chord G, and then you get that descending bass line from G chord to F sharp minor to E minor to D. You can hear it, dun 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 dun. So that's what's going on there. They're really nice chords, and I do think if you want to increase your complexity and you like just strumming the chords, give it a try. Try running those in like that. It would be really great. If you're joining us late, there is no chat box tonight. I probably hit the wrong button loading in the screen, and so I'm just going to talk and we're going to play until I'm sick of playing. I'm assuming you are hearing me just fine, and you're having a great time with your guitar out there. All right, next. Hopefully at this point, if you are a melody player and you're like, that's what I want to do with my life is just play melody. It sounds beautiful. It's really good. Hopefully at this point, you can go through and just pick the top notes of every moment in the song and it will come out as the melody. What we do when we're creating these tough uke arrangements, tough axe arrangements, is we put the melody in first and then we just see how much chords we can stick in underneath it. And the guitar is really friendly with that because the strings are in order, which is super nice. And we can just find those places where it looks like we can add in some portion or all of the chord underneath the melody note. So let's do a little exercise here where we can take what we have in front of us. We don't have the melody line by itself. And so we're wanting to just pick out the melody. So first measure, you've got this D chord 302 is what you've got. Well, don't play the whole chord if you're just playing the melody. Just play the 3 on the top. Some 302 3 3203 302 200. That sounds great so far. Let's keep going. 3 3023 3203 302 23. Whoops, sorry. Where am I at? 3203 302 233. Okay, now lean on me at measure 9. Lean on 3 2203 3202. Now here's a place where I believe we have a typo, and I'm going to check with Christy. But I think instead of a 2 on the second string, it should be a 3 on the second string. Okay, so I think that's the note we're looking for. This is your B string. Christy has it in as a C sharp, and I think it should be a D. Okay, so I think it should be this note here. And so I'll have her check that, obviously, but I have changed it to what I think sounds more correct in my head. So if I'm coming in at strong, and I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on. So I think I'll in the middle of measure 11 should be a 3 on the second string instead of a 2. So that's my first, what I think is a typo. Okay, let's move on to measure 13. Measure 13, again, just the top note of every single thing. Here we go. 3 2203 23202 302 2-0-3-3, 2-0-3, 2-2-2-0-3, 3-2-0-2, 3-0-2-2. Now I'm going to add in a note here because I think it sounds pretty, and there's another place where the same thing happens, and it feels like in the song when he sings it, when we usually hear it this way, things you need to borrow, da da da, and borrow I think is how it's sounded, and so I'm going to put in a second zero in front of borrow, between bar and row. So I'm going to put in, okay, Christy just texted me. Yep, that's a typo. Okay. All right. But measure 20, under bar, you got 0, 2, 3, 2. Okay. I'm going to put in plain zero after that just to give it that feeling. So I'm going to put in a 2 and then a 0 and then the A chord or a 0 after that. Okay. The note that I'm going to take out is at the end of measure 20. There's a note just hanging out by itself. I think it's a 3. I crossed it off really strong. Let me see what it used to be. The last note in measure 19 is a 3 on the second string. I don't think it's necessary. I think it feels like it's an extra, probably designed as a transition into the next measure, but I don't personally know if it's necessary, so I took it out. Okay, so let's go on to measure, well, let's start at 19, measure 19. Okay, third string, second fret. If I have things you need to borrow, I just think that sounds better. Then we go to 4, no one can, and it's kind of cool because it goes kind of opposite, da 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 instead of da da da, as it's been doing. Let's turn the page. We're on page 3 at the top, measure 22. The second note in measure 22 is a 0. I crossed mine out. I don't think it's doing any work there. I think it might be a transitional note, but I don't find it helpful, and so I took it out. And so I'm going to start with this 3. Fill those of your needs. 3-0-2, 2-3-3. Is that pretty? Now go on to the 2-4. Let's talk about that technique just a moment. You got 2-4. You just 2-4. You really do want to use your pinky. I know pinky. You're going to use your pinky on some 4s here and some 4s here. I hate it. You hate it. We all hate it. Everybody in the history of guitar hates it, but it works. And so when you see a 4, you really do want to use your pinky. You don't want to slide your ring finger down because it pulls your whole hand out of position, and everything after that 4 is going to be you fighting your way back into position. Okay, so I'm going to do that. 2, 4. Now I have 2 more typos. I think they're typos, and I want to just tell you what I'm going to play so that when we get there, you can decide. But under call is fine. I think a 3 is fine. On, and then Christy put in 2-2, I think. Me both. On me, brother. And it sounds okay on some level, but it doesn't sit well with my ears. So I've changed underneath me, I've changed that to a 3 on the second string. And under brother, I've changed that to a 0 on the second string. So I'm changing it from a C, 2 C's to a D and a B. So what I'm coming up with is call on me, brother. That's what sounds more correct in my ears. Again, try it both ways and see what you think, but I think we will probably end up with call on me, brother, when it seems to be more correct in my ears to change those 2 2s into a 3 and a 0 on the same string. Okay, I think that's my last thing that I think is a typo. And then let's go on to measure 26. pinky on 4 of the 4th string this time. And what I've noticed is when I'm playing this, and I got to do that 4, I got to look over here, right? So I have now memorized that the next 2 notes are a 2 on the 3rd string and then an open on the 2nd string in every case. So that gives me comfort level. I'm going to take my eye off paper, 4, 2, 0, and I know that those are coming. That gives me enough time to get my eyeballs back onto the paper. So when you see that 4 on 4, when you need a hand, okay, that's what you're going to probably do. Okay, so let's go 4, 2, 0, 3, and then end of measure 26. We all need somebody to lean on. 3rd string. I just might have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on me. Now, in my notes here at the middle of 32, I've got a big arrow right in the middle of that because I want to put in a bunch of energy. I feel like we all need somebody to lean on me, right? I want to come after that, lean on me there with a lot of enthusiasm. Feels like the point in the song where you would really want to get after it. And so think about that as you're playing this. Lean on, and then measure 33. Me, when you're not strong. Okay, we're on page 4 now, sorry. 0, 3, 2, 0, 2. 3, 0, 2, 2, 0, 0. 3, 2, 2, 0, 3, 2, 3, 2, 0, 2, 2, 0, 3, 3, 2, 0, 3. Okay, so the melody makes sense. Couple of minor adjustments to it, I think, and I think it feels a little more playable. Not necessarily more playable. It just sounds a little more correct in my ear, and then we have it, right? So as I'll be talking with Christy this week about some of these minor adjustments, and I know she'll make them for us quickly, and I will send out a revised sheet. I am starting to give some thought to having 2 weeks for all of our songs, not so much that I need more time to write the next song, which I might, but mostly it feels like this is a great time to just dig in on the first night, just really get where we know what we're doing, and then come back on the second Thursday night and just play and see if we can't, have something really impressive. One of the things I am terribly guilty of, and you guys know it, is throwing more and more and more and more paper at you all the time and never really taking time to develop something fully. And I think, if we had another week on this where we now have agreed on all of the things that are likely to happen in the song, we would come back next week, hopefully a lot stronger. So, all right, so that's the melody part, and now we've gone through the chords. You've heard me sing, it's not good. And so now let's go through, let's play the tough acts, let's find out those things that are going to go well and those things are going to be a challenge, and then we'll talk about styling that. So once we get all of the pieces together, then we'll talk about going through what I would do and what you might do and some things to try to make your final version just really, really something that you own, okay? So we take the D chord, always when in tough line, we always start with the chord. In this case, it's a D. 0, 2, 3, we've seen that a million times. Okay, and then 3, 0, 2. And now Christy's put in the fancy G chord here with the 2 3s down here, and I think she's right. I think it sounds cool. You get a lot more pickup on that bottom note. And then 3, 2, 0. D chord here, 3 notes, 3, 0, D chord again, O, and then the A chord. Let that ring. Go on, D chord, 3, 0, 2. Now in this case you put the regular G chord, but I'm putting in the extra 3. I want the fancy G chord here as well. I just think it sounds nice. It's got a lot of oomph. If we were wise, 3, 2, 3, 2, 0, D chord. There's always tomorrow. I have taken off, it goes tomorrow, and I've taken off the 2 and the 0 underneath that, the second note there, the 3-2-0 or 0-2-3, I should say. I took off the bottom 2 because I feel like that's more of a transition to the D chord than the D chord itself. So I'm feeling like it should be so I feel like that's just a leading note into the D chord rather than the D chord itself. So I took off the 2 and the 0. I think it plays a little better. Okay, let's go on to the middle of measure 8. Lean on me when you're not. And then you're going to go to your G chord. Again, the one with the ring on the 3 is the best choice here. Strong, and I'll be your D chord friend. I added a 0 on there to hit the A string there. We don't usually do that on a D chord, but I added that because I just wanted a little more oomph out of it. So instead of just those 2 notes sound a little thin to me, so I put a 0-0-2 there. Okay, and then 3-0-2 D chord. And again, I dropped off the lower part of the chord on this next note. I just have a 0 by itself as a transition note into A. Okay, so I just think that feels a little bit better in my head. And let's check and see if that was Christy again. Stop tearing my arrangement apart. It's Chanel talking about her offspring is a heck of a guitarist. You guys know her, Kaylin. All right, so we're on carry on. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, go down to measure 32. 4. It won't be G chord here with the fancy one with your ring up there high. Long. And now I'm stuck, right? I got to get to this 2-3-2. So I'm going to do this chord, and then I'm just abandoning it. 2-3-2-0. I'm just playing some melody through there. I wish I could keep that G chord just rolling, but I got to use I'm out of fingers, so I can go 2-3-2-0. And then again, the D chord. Probably have the A string under it. 2-0-3-3. Somebody to, and then to your A chord, super important moment. Lean on. Okay. And then the same idea starts again. Please swallow your G chord pride. If I have things you need to borrow. Again, putting that extra 0 between right after the D chord, just adding an extra 0 on the first string. It just gives that borrow. That's what I'm after there. Okay, I've lost that last 3 in that measure. I don't think it's necessary. Go to measure 21. Put your D chord on. Go. 4. No one can. And every time I hit that, it feels like that is not right. It just feels really weird to me, but it resolves itself in the next measure. So my tendency is to go 0-2-0. Something's wrong there, but it actually works out fine. So go ahead and turn your page. Page 3, because what happens is dun 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 G chord. Sounds really nice there. So that's a kind of a weird transition into that fill. And then I have dumped the 0 after that. And then 3-2-0. D chord. 3-0, another D chord. And then here's your A7. Into 3. And then a D chord. Beautiful. Really nice joke going there. 2-4. Here everything changes, right? You can even feel it. We're about to go into the bridge section, or the B section, I guess. 2-4. We haven't hit any 4s yet, and that's because we haven't played the bridge, or in this case, it feels like there's A-A-B-A is what this song feels like, but we can call it a bridge. 2-4. And then measure 25. We got a D chord. Call on 3-0 me, brother, when 4-2-0 strong. We all need somebody we've got 2 D chords in a row there. You can kind of decide whether you need to do both. I've been doing both. Need somebody to, but you could also just play the top note of 2. Need somebody to, a little less drama, but I've been playing them both. I don't know. I haven't quite decided what I would do in the end. A chord, leaning, and then a D chord. On, I just might have a problem that 4, 2, oh, D chord. We all D chord need somebody to A chord, lean on, and then a lot of energy here. Lean on me. You're going back to the A section now. So we've done AA, this was B, and now we'll go back to A. And just make sure you're putting a lot of oomph there into 30, the end of 32 and into 33. Let's go ahead and turn the page. When you're not a G chord, again the fancy G chord, strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. And there, I really do think both of those chords are real necessary. I just think it sounds really cool. And then it's 37. 4. It won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to. A chord, lean on. And then what I'm hoping, Christy, I can talk her into is putting an A7. A7 as a turnaround, and then you go all the way back to the beginning. Okay? So that would be my thought on that. And again, when an arranger sits down, when I do it, man, I sit down and get as close to what I think sounds great. And then what inevitably happens is when I present it to you guys or present it to one of the other groups I'm teaching, we find things we could improve or change or adjust. And then we go back and we do it again. And what I always find, when 3 years later, when I go back to pick up this piece of sheet music again for the next time I'm teaching it, I make lots of changes to what I thought was a perfect arrangement in the first place. And so when we get an arrangement like this, where Christy was getting it ready for December 31st, 2019, right? And then we probably didn't have as much time at the moment to work on it as we could have, and now we got a lot more time to look at. Gives us a chance to nitpick it just a little bit. We're not nitpicking Christy. We're just saying, hey, this sounds better to me. This is something I might try at this point in my life. 4 years from now, when I'm a different type of player, I might change it again in different ways. But I do think overall it's a really solid piece of music, and I think you'll do yourself well to spend a little bit of time on it. So I'm going to wrap it up a tiny bit early, but I'd like to play top to bottom twice, right? Go down all the way to the bottom, and we'll stop between pages 2 and 3, so you have time to turn the page. And then when we get to 40, I'm going to put an A7 in after that, and then we're going to go back and we're going to play the whole thing a second time. Okay, just to hear what that turnaround does. The problem with it ending on a D chord and then starting it on a D chord, there's just no drama there. We're not telling our audience that we're about to go play this song a second time. So we need a little bit of a transition moment there. All right, get your best case scenario on. Pick whichever way of playing is making the most sense to you. If you want to play the D chords and the G chords, you got plenty of them to keep you busy. A chords, A7s. And I guess it ends up being a 3-chord song if we take out all the other stuff that I felt was more than it wasn't necessary. So that's nice, right? We like that. And if you want to just play the melody and just pick off the top of those notes, do that. I'm going to try as best I can to keep it in 4/4 time. As you know, this is singing and that sort of stuff are not at all in my wheelhouse. And so when we have a song that's very heavily dependent on the thought in our head, sometimes it's easy to add a measure or add a beat inside of a measure or lose one along the way. So I'll do the best I can, and I think we'll end up with something real nice. And then we can talk over email this week about whether you're ready to move on to another song, or whether you'd like one more week to dig into this. And I think I'll get different opinions on that. But so give me your opinion about, hey, I really just want to do one song a week, and then I want to throw it away, and I want to move on to the next thing. Except for Hotel California, which we spent 3 weeks on and still couldn't play it at the end. That's not true. We were playing it pretty well, I thought. Okay. Whether you'd like to spend 2 weeks on one song, that gives you a week to get it figured out, get it up to speed, make your markings on your paper, do the things you want to do, and then the second week to really dial it in and turn it into something. Or whether you're like, no, that's not me, that's not the way I want to work. I want to just keep new music coming in all the time. I'll do it the best I can, and then we'll start on the next piece of music. So give me your ideas on that over the internet or over email about which way you'd like to go, and then I'll make some sort of decision over the weekend whether we should do another week on this or just move on. Okay. Trying to do this in any meaningful way, in any way that's meaningful to you. Okay. We can do this, we can not do this, doesn't really matter one way or the other than I do think getting together on a regular basis. The world is falling apart out there really bad, and we are going to be a while before we get to hang out. And so in all I'm worried about is that we just continue to progress as musicians and get a little better. Already you can tell my appearance is falling apart. I'm wearing a t-shirt tonight. I think in my mind, the one thing that we can do while we're on lockdown and not hanging out with each other is just get to be better soloists. Really find those songs that we really enjoy playing and really knuckle down and learn the techniques that we're supposed to. That's what I think is the best thing to do. But you may have better ideas or different ideas, and I'd like to hear them. And obviously, give me your thoughts on all that. All right. And by the way, you guys, I get 80 billion emails from ukulele players. I don't get any from you guys. So feel free. The door is open. I will read your emails and respond to them first. All right. Top to bottom, and then back to the top to bottom. We will do pages 1 and 2. We'll take a little break. Then we'll do pages 3 and 4. Then we'll go back and do that exact same thing again. Okay. I should mention very quickly, on page 3, at measure 25, you go into all those D chords. I have been tending to go switch from strumming down with my thumb to the claw position there, because I want the B section to have a different feeling than the A section. And it doesn't really matter what the difference is. I just want it to feel different. I also feel like in the original tune, it goes needs that you won't let show. Let's see, fill those of your needs that you won't let show. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. It feels like it gets a little more sprightly, a little more jumpy, a little more staccato in that section. And so I've been switching to a claw there. So playing the main part with my thumb, A, claw on B, and then back to my thumb on A. So you might think about that, whether that works for you or not, I don't know. Okay, from the top, all the way through. This is our moment. This is your moment. See how you do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Change over your page. Give me a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. last time through, make it count. 1, 2, ready, play. Page, go to page 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Page, go. Second ending. Good arrangement, Christy. Nice job on that. Questions, comments, concerns, you email me. I think that's what I know about. I noticed I'm also getting more and more orange as the spend goes down. So probably I'm orange enough now for you. That's it. I'll talk with Christy this week about whether she wants to make any adjustments to her final version of this. She may or may not have time. But in any event, you can see how I take the paperwork. I take what's written. I try to believe in it as much as I can. But when I decide I need to change something, I change it. And you should be doing that as well with your practice papers. What I hand you is close to good, right? And it's you that's going to make it great. And so I never ever practice without a pencil so that I can go through and make those changes that I intend to and make myself notes about technique and how I want to play it. And I think it's perfectly fine. It's not going to cost Bill Withers any money whatsoever if I change some of the notes to whatever I think they should be. And it's not going to make Christy's going to only cry for 4 or 5 hours after I've made all of the changes to this. So she won't cry at all. She'll be like, yeah, he's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. So knock yourself out on this, dig through it, find those things that make sense to you, turn it into something beautiful, and then please do let me know. Do you want one more week on this so you can really get it good? I mean, this would be a nice song in your repertoire, right? When somebody says, hey, play me a song, you could knock that one out. People would love it. If you want to move on, right? And so I know people fall kind of into two camps. Give me more, give me more, give me more. And a few of you are like, hey, I really want to get something good and solid, and I do need a little more time on this. So figure out who you are. Toss me an email. Good to see all of you guys. Thank you for being here. I know it's always weird that we're doing this, but the truth is that the world is in chaos and it's gonna get worse. And so this is the best thing we can be doing with our time until things get cleaned up. And I appreciate you being here. Hope you guys are staying safe. 4th of July weekend. Don't believe that you need to go to your grandmother's house. Just stay home. Okay. Have a wonderful week. I'm sorry there's no chat box, and I will talk to you all tomorrow at 2:30 or over the weekend or next week or something. Okay. Take care. I will see y'all later. I'm going to end the stream.